does look a lot better on the carry style champions, and Jay should be a big pick on this patch, so it's going to be a little tough as Immortals figure out their identity, but we'll see what happens here in this champ select. Ryze banned away from Phoenix1, there's Lee Sin to follow, and Immortals banning away LeBlanc, expecting Camille and Rengar to come through pretty shortly as well.
Yep, we're going to be talking about it all week as well, the fact that we are on patch 7.2, so Courage of the Colossus nerfs. The Maokai Nautilus isn't quite as dominating. Varus much higher priority because of the lethality, as if being the #1 pick AD carry in week 1 wasn't already high priority. I'd say it's a little higher now.
Well, Graves the last ban there from Phoenix1, so 2 jungle bans really. Joining in with that Ryze, Immortals thinking about this last ban. Again, we expect Camille, but taking their time, maybe discussing the rest of the draft, or perhaps they have something cheeky prepared. But only one team is daring enough to do that, and it didn't work out too well for FlyQuest last week.
Absolutely, and I think the Graves ban is actually super interesting, only because we were talking about Graves jungle making a resurgence with the lethality changes in this patch, and it's something Dardoch has been really good on. But with Kha'Zix falling through the draft, now Dardoch basically plays Lee Sin into it, which is expected, but I think the Graves has more burst potential and can actually be a good matchup in a Kha'Zix, making sure they get rid of that.
A lot of junglers banned away here. Phoenix1 prioritizing that. Flame will go straight back to Jace though, which I think does make sense. It's just how Immortals sculpt the rest of this team comp around it, and they can wait on the Rek'Sai if that's what they want, but Immortals, if they want it, are going to have to pick it in these first 3.
Yeah, and it's a little trickier, honestly, to play the Jace into a jungler with as much burst as Kha'Zix, because if it is tank and Kha'Zix in the top lane against the Jace, it's almost a super easy kill, whereas with Rek'Sai it took a lot longer, and theoretically Flame could have scaled to a point where that can't be a fight. So Immortals locking down their solo lanes really early, not giving them any room to counterpick as a red side team. Pretty bold choice.
It is, but they're just taking super strong picks here. I mean, lots of mid lane is open. Probelta certainly felt the pinch in the last game, so he'll take Syndra. There's Corki for Ryu. So Phoenix1 are smartly trading strong picks here, and I almost feel like they're playing on Flame's tendency here, giving him over the Jace, and I think Probelta just feels scared because he got so many mid laners taken away in game 1.
Yeah, and it secures him a champion he's definitely good at. And the high priority on Varus gets secured as well. This will put Immortals into an interesting spot for sure, because there's a lot of picks that are still available. In the theory of this draft, they still technically have the next 2 picks. There's just a big ban phase in between. But Zyra is a champion that's still available somehow. Also, you want to be able to match AD or jungle, because that leaves so many ban options for Phoenix1.
And looks like Immortals...
Would they Elise?
No, they'll Olaf instead. I mean, Dardoch, I think, knew we wanted to take a jungler. I do like Olaf a little bit more. It's not Rek'Sai, but it is tankier and kind of supports Flame wanting to play a carry in top lane.
Yeah, for sure. Olaf is something that we thought maybe we'd see a little bit more of early on in this split, but we have not, due to the prevalence of the Kha'Zix and the Lee Sin. Still can be a very strong pick and run straight through you. With Courage of the Colossus being down as well, you might want to favor him over something like Rek'Sai. Dardoch wants to switch things up a bit.
See what's happening in ban phase 2 though, as Poppy banned away from Immortals is going to start to target down that top lane. We saw this in the last one, trying to give Zig a rough tank matchup. Poppy is one of the champions that absorbs best in these sorts of 1v1s, so yeah. Saw Zig have trouble on Shen. Immortals kind of sticking to the plan from game 1.
Yeah, you wonder if they're going to end up banning the Shen as well, just to put Zig onto a worse duelist when they go up there. The AD ban's coming through for Phoenix1. You would almost expect it to be followed by Jhin for sure, to push Cody Sun onto a non-CC marksman.
Could be tricky. Immortals, 15 seconds for their final ban of this draft. They will get first pick out of this phase as well, so be curious to see where they go for now. Can't imagine they aren't going to keep banning top lanes, but they actually ban a support here to take away Adrian's Karma.
Yeah, that's interesting, unless they think the Karma's a really good pick into this support they want, but Karma's also a great pick with Olaf jungle, so one of those bans that can be seen either way. Zyra here would make sense unless they're afraid of Adrian's MF or they think he has a counter pick lined up. All right, they're going way different.
Yeah, they are. That's a Ziggs
bot.
Actually. So Cody Sun going to play that in the bot lane. I haven't seen this yet in NA, I believe.
No, it was seen over in Korea for sure. We got to see SKT pulling out the bot lane Ziggs. Unless this is Ziggs support, it would still technically be bot lane Ziggs, but yeah. It's going to be a high farm Ziggs, and they have the physical damage locked in because of the Jace, so compositionally it makes sense. But still, really surprised on the lack of priority on Zyra for sure, and we'll see if Phoenix1 ends up going with that here.
I mean, Maokai for Zig is relatively straightforward, but I think Adrian is licking his lips at the Zyra pick. It just seems so good with only Karma as the ban, which Immortals also could have used to maybe take away a different support. Adrian, though, does fall back to the Nami, seems to be a preference for himself. Maybe it's a laning thing, maybe it's a playstyle thing, we'll have to see, but Immortals gonna pick, looks like their support here. We'll see what Ole goes for. His Thresh in the last game did do a lot of work for his team as well, so he might want another pick support.
He's been really successful on champions with a lot of skill shots that lead to kills. Morgana, Thresh, potentially Bard. And this also just kind of tells me that neither of these guys like Zyra, because I don't feel like anything super substantial changed that pushes Zyra out of the meta in any way. So let that be known, LCS. These guys don't necessarily like Zyra that much as it falls completely through the draft.
Yeah, that is the bud for Ole as well. So Phoenix1, I think very good drafting for them. Put together power picks in almost every single lane, maybe support not included, but Immortals have a very exciting draft, so we're going to start there.
Yeah, I mean, one synergy you could think of is Bard ult and a Ziggs ult. Timing it just as the Bard ult expires could be a good way of getting people to stay in that. Lots of poke, another pick composition, but theoretically, Immortals want 3 shoving lanes. They can get a top lane, Cinder can have priority, and Ziggs can definitely shove in at a very high level. Could have been higher if they would have picked support with a little bit more shoving power, but that's what I expect from Immortals. And Phoenix1, once again, they got that big tank, mix of damage, good poke, good team fighting.
Plan's pretty much the same for both teams, it looks like. So Immortals, are they going to run into the same problems? Does the Ziggs change anything really in that bot lane? Can it give them the power to get an even bigger early game lead? We're going to have to find out. Coaches will shake hands. See an eyebrow raised there from Herbie. He's like, yep. Didn't expect that Karma ban, did you? He's like, no. We wanted it Nami anyway.
By the way, that was strange. I agree, that was strange. Let's walk off stage now.
Well, always fun to see after such an exciting game number 1 where we go with similar looking comps, but the first Ziggs bot in the NALCS should be fun. First bot as well, so a brand new bottom lane in NALCS.
Yeah, pretty exciting. And I also kind of want to just reiterate to people, we have been fairly critical of Hermes' drafts on Immortals, but you also have to keep in mind the constraints a coach is potentially working with. Flame has looked bad on the meta tanks like Maokai and Nautilus, so they're putting him on carries because that's more of the type of player he is. But that has far-reaching implications to the rest of your draft phase. And then you take a support like Ole, who's had the most success on this skill shot-based characters, not necessarily on the Zyra and the Malzahar. So it's not, it may or may not be that Hermes doesn't like those champions, but his team might not be able to play them, so you have to find creative solutions. And this is the creative solution it looks like they've tried to think of.
I'm certainly going to agree with the creative part of that. As Immortals, we'll move in and try and get some vision down. We did see an invade last game, so we'll see if similar vision's put down here. Cody Thunder already taking poke. Arrow, that was slick. Dodges out from under that Q. So already off to a good start here. You can see he's played against it before. That's not as nice. Good Q there from Ole. 1 for 1 so far.
Yeah. Although the trade is equal on both sides, because, a little less than equal. Level 1 Ziggs Q, not a huge amount of damage. And another early invade by Dardoch.
Yep, he's going to keep throwing some axes. Going to annoy Zig.
But also run himself a little low on mana.
Yeah. Looks like he's going to take the blue buff, so maybe that was the plan all along. Zig is going to spot this out, but we can see Inori is on that red buff, so we might have yet another vertical jungle, and it does feel like Dardoch is at least covering for the top half of the map with a lot of these paths, which makes sense given that Flame does want an isolated lane for himself.
Also notice the fervor on the Olaf. Still Courage of the Colossus for Zig though, so once again that's substantially nerfed in 1v1 situations in lane on this patch. Look for Flame to really try and take an advantage. Also note how Inori's starting with the pull from his bot side because he wants to be able to rush over to the other blue buff that Dardoch will not be able to make it to.
Yep, you can see Dardoch got a bit of help from Flame on the other side, so once again we'll have some vertical jungling instead, and Ryu shooting Cobalt early on, as this might be the fun lane to watch. Arrow taking early damage from Ole and his Thunderlords, and Ziggs, pretty curious bot laner here, but can do a lot of shoving and get some good damage down. When you set up for nice CC trades, Ziggs shines.
Yeah, and the shove is actually pretty remarkable. Level 3, 2 Qs kill the back wave. Level 9, 1 Q kills the back wave as a Ziggs, so always trying to kill that turret. However, the Varus can match that shove pretty well, especially if he goes tier build.
Ole just shutting out the blast cone option.
Ooh, now you have to walk through the pathway. Doesn't really kill any time for Inori.
I like it. Bit of fun. Arrow level 2 already though, chunking down Cody's son. Does have his summoner heal and his flash, so should be safe for now. Now hits level 2. Oh, they're going to have to put those caretaker shrines into overtime.
Yeah.
It's
And there could also be a laning reason that Adrian wants the Nami as well. It's just because the sustain for any of the Ziggs poke is there.
Dardoch chasing Inori out of his jungle, pops the ghost. That's going to immediately prompt him to leave. Slow lands in though, Dardoch still chasing. Another Q lands in. Inori does have his flash, but when is he going to use it? There it is, very nicely done. Gets up from under Ole's Q as well.
Yeah, smart from Dardoch seeing the level 2 Inori saying he does not have leap yet. I'm going to Ghost right now. He knows Ghost is a lower cooldown than the flash. Getting that summoner spell trade early is very beneficial.
Arrow level 3 though, Ole having to leave the lane means Cody's son has to play back towards that turret, and here's Flame. Oh, good dodge from Zig, but Flame still effortlessly winning the end of that trade, although Sapling actually evens it back out for Zig.
Yeah, ended up taking a little bit of damage as well. Has the triple health potion longsword start that we're seeing popularized by the bot lane carries recently because they want to rush to their lethality items. No different for Flame, going to make him vulnerable to ganks, but since he just seen Inori down bot very low, felt safe to go for a very aggressive trade.
Seems a little better for Pobelto. This minion wave will give Ryu back the kind of CS neutralization, but Pobelto getting damage onto the turret. Ryu forced back early. Syndra really just doing what she's intended to do in the lane, and you can see the difference it's making, giving Pobelto a high priority mid laner already 4 minutes into the game.
Yeah, so Immortals wanted to have 3 lanes that can shove in. It looks like they have 2 lanes that can shove in as of now. Cody's son took a lot of poke from Arrow early on, and Adrian is kind of the X factor, being able to out-sustain in this poke matchup, so it's looking like a strong Nami pick early on at least.
Inori and Dardoch gonna butt heads again. Inori gonna spot him.
Hello.
Battle Crab's got a smite.
Yep, he's got
Walks
it.
over and gets it, says thanks for the leash, and leaps out of that axe.
Easy steal there for Inori. Fights continue. No mana on Ziggs.
Exhaust down though. Ole trying to all in onto Arrow, but the heal's gonna be popped. Exhaust now lands on the Cody's son. Ole backs off from the fray, little low on health and mana. P1 again with that sustain lead, continuing to press their advantage here.
Yeah, and we should talk a little bit more about bot lane Ziggs, since this is something people thought was going to be a little bit more prevalent, especially when they saw it just at the start and then wasn't seen very much. So much of his ability here is partly due to just random bits of his kit, not necessarily because he's amazing bot lane, but he's got 575 range, which outranges a lot of marksmen. Unfortunately, not Varus, who also has 575 range, so that's not advantage in this matchup. Also, the massive wave clear outshoves most other AD carries. Not Varus again, so it's like he's going to mainly be used just as a differentiation of damage, and if they want quick burst on turrets, because otherwise you would have wanted something like the Ash or the Jhin, but that was just simply banned out. So I actually feel like this is an answer to try and get those same shoving tendencies you get out of a physical damage caster, which is what Jhin is, and it's just a magic damage caster now in Ziggs.
Yeah, important to remember that you're right. Cody's son did kind of have picks fall down the draft with P1 banning him out in phase 2. Things not looking too hot right now, but Arrow and Adrian looking good on the other side. 10 CS ahead. Cody's son should be able to play catch up as Zig doing the same here in this lane. Flame going to teleport and join him in. But 10 CS and counting now for Flame. He does have the early Warhammer and that longsword. And you can see just why the matchup doesn't look too fun for Zig.
Yeah, and I wonder if Flame is going to freeze this wave and try and deny some CS from Zig, because they both had just teleported back into lane. So getting the substantial amount of poke down can really have some long-reaching effects.
Well, Dardoch again. Blast cones over, finds Inori.
Oh!
That one went to Dardoch, and he's caught. No stun's going to land, but Ole's going to chase him down. Adrian here fends him off with the bubble. Pobelto going to join in there as well. There's the stun in him. First blood to Immortals mid laner.
Super greedy invade by Inori right there, trying to maximize his isolation as far as jungle clearing goes. Especially this patch on Kha'Zix, some of the jungle camps hit a lot harder. Gromp hits harder, Krugs hit harder. So he's really just trying to make sure he can clear the individual camps fast, and has no flash on this invade as well, not to mention his mid lane was not able to roam first, so not much the rest of Phoenix1 can do as Inori gets caught with his hand in the cookie jar.
Yep. Pays for it as well. Has a nice kill for Pobelto. Should help him out in the lane. It's already looking pretty comfy. Actually, first item buy is done for those mid laners, but we'll hold on to that as Dardoch back down to the bottom side, looking for Adrian as his kill. There's the flash out from Nami. Exhaust is ready, but Dardoch is going to force them back. Arrow slowed up as Cody's son almost gets himself sniped. Arrow, not quite enough mana for another Q, I don't think, as Pobelto's going to join the fray as well.
Arrow's skill shot accuracy really high, and that's what's really pushing this lane in his favor. Cody's son's been hit by too many of those, and they just don't have the same level of sustain to be able to keep himself alive.
Inori looking for a buff, does not find it, continuing his aggressive invade tendencies, despite the fact that he just got himself killed. But Dardoch kind of doing some nice work around the jungle. It's actually 2 levels ahead of Inori right now, which is a massive lead in experience. And Ole even warding up his camps. Dardoch, it feels like he's got an immeasurable amount of control at this point. Now going to donate blue buff over as well. And you can see reflected in a slight gold difference, but Inori is real far behind.
He really is, and that happens when he has 2 somewhat failed invades into the enemy Gromp early on in the game. And even speaking to the wider story of the series, Dardoch was winning pretty heavily in game 1 as well. This game in particular, though, even though Inori had first choice of jungler with the Kazakhs, the lanes are just heavily shoving in the favor of Immortals in the mid and the top lane, although Ryu doing a very good job staying even with the Hex Drinker on Corki, and actually shoving in as well, so it could just be Flame.
I mean, certainly Flame.
Long story short, Dardoch's doing well, but Flame is always winning his lane.
Yeah, Flame, I mean, they gave him the first pick Jace 2 games in a row. Looking to succeed here versus the tank matchup and continuing to do work here. Zig is keeping up a little better, I think, but Flame is going to be as oppressive as he can in that 1v1. Immortals up, not quite 1,000 gold just yet, so off to a decent early start, but it's not the same speed that Immortals had in the first one. Maybe looking to play a bit calmer this game, slow things down a bit. And Phoenix1, we saw they were comfortable in that sort of game. They've got a similar looking comp to try and run here as Ryu just ducks his way out from under the stun, but Pobelta really shoving things in. Ryu is keeping up. Blue buff's going to help here as well, but Ole's looking to move around. Immortals, again, playing a little softer than game number 1, but certainly feeling like they're kind of comfy early on in the game.
Yeah, and it is really important that Pobelta is doing well. He was a big weak point in the last game, I believe, starting at 0-4 at one point on Victor, and it really allowed Ryu to take off. Here on the Corki, the ideal build for Corki is just to rush to a Trinity Force, but he just cannot do that against Syndra, so his natural power spikes of getting the Trinity Force are naturally delayed, so that helps Immortals once again in trying to set up plays. And you're hoping for Immortals that if they can just get off the successful ganks to then just transition them into the objectives, because they want to have multiple shoving lanes, Dardoch gets a play, and then they run train.
Well, you can see Mountain break up as well. 10 minutes in, could be some sort of contest for the objective. Ole poking around, consistently leaving the lane and trying to find some poke here as Cody's son just shoves the wave back as best he can. 20 CS down right now as Inori lies in wait for a potential kill, but there's a control ward going to spot them out. Inori going to get hit by the skill shot. They'll clear out the ward and perhaps revisit in another time. Just meanwhile, Ryu just casually tanking 2 turret hits and burning the package. That's fine. That's totally fine.
Yeah, definitely. Good wave clear there as well.
That's what it was for.
Yeah. Push up and get the wave clear. Looks like they want to go for play.
Found Adrian. There's Dardoch down as well. Ulti not quite there. Lands actually in onto Dardoch, but Adrian's going to get blown up here. The kill over to Dardoch as Pobelta solo killed in that mid lane.
And he lost both summoner spells. What happened with Pobelta there? Doesn't even get Ryu's Hex Drinker. Inori wanted to come in for the assist, but was not able to get there. So Immortals bot lane actually works, but it's Pobelta. We're going to have to get a replay on that kill.
And we talked about how much better it was looking for Pobelta, and all of a sudden it goes wrong. Isolated Death looking a little high there for poor Pobelta. He's winning in that statistic, which unfortunately is not a good column to be winning in.
This also stops them from being able to get Baron, so he just gets the stun and goes for an all-in, but the exhaust hits right as he's ulting. Ryu also had the backup of the Hex Drinker, so just misjudging his damage pretty substantially there, and also had used all of his peel by stunning Ryu in the first place. Overaggression from Pobelta and just misplayed.
Really nice stuff there, and Ryu goes back at Sork Shoes after getting his kill, so really maximizing the early damage, looking to maybe get an even bigger lane advantage 1v1. Inori though, clearing out the Grump safely this time. He's on his own side of the map, so things looking a little better. Zig does return with the Balmy Cinder and the Ninja Tower. Actually seems quite a bit better as far as CS differential goes. So Flame, yes, he's still winning and pretty heavily at that, but he doesn't seem to be growing the same immensely that he was before. And I think a lot of it is to do with Dardoch just not getting off to the same start. Immortals can't be as aggressive and rush down these turrets. And if the game is at more of a medium pace, I think Phoenix1 feel a bit better, at least early on.
Yeah, and they want to be able to hit the power spikes on their Corki and their Varus to be able to come right back at Immortals. And I do want to talk about the Ziggs just a little bit more in this game, just because the reason that people were picking Ziggs earlier, I felt like, was to hit earlier power spikes, which would be the Morellonomicon first, because at the time, everyone was going Essence Reaver ADs into a crit item, into a Infinity Edge, and they weren't turning on power-wise until like 8 or 10,000 gold. But teams have already solved that problem. That's why you're seeing the lethality builds out of the Varus and the Jhin, because those have very early power spikes, and they're able to have impact when the game matters. So Ziggs actually doesn't give you any of those unique advantages other than the fact that he does magic damage. So it's actually not a great pick right now, in my opinion, in pro play, especially against Varus. If you're against an Infinity Edge slow scaling carry that can't shove lane early, then it's good. But here I feel like Cody Sun was really forced into the pick because of the bans.
And yeah, the bans definitely not helping him. Maybe Cody Sun just didn't feel comfortable after those 3 champions were banned away. It's hard to say exactly why they fell to this pick, but it does seem to be a bit of a struggle as Arrow is ahead 20 CS. Cody Sun does have the Morello Nomicon finish now, so his power will increase pretty nicely with that first pickup, but P1 seem to have control of bottom lane. Mid lane, certainly back in the hands of Ryu, or at least even between the two. And top lane going much better than it was for the last game. I mean, the comps are similar, the pace feels similar, but just that touch slower for P1, who are comfortable to carry it into the mid game. I mean, the gold is not showing much.
Oh dear, no bard to help him.
Cody Sun caught out, that's an easy kill. Very nice brush snipe as Ole. We're going to try and land something up on a Ryu. Oh, he cuts back around the tower, but the Syndra ulti going to try and move in for it. Dodak just dives in. There's the stun, and that's going to be a kill. Nori, though, going to take Ole out for the trade. Not quite there in time to save Mizzig. He's joined in as well with the teleport, but I think Pobelter and Dardak have gotten themselves out.
Yeah, it's going to be a little interesting, but they don't want to tango with a 3v2. Considering the investment that Immortals had on that play, to still trade a 1-for-1 isn't that good, and Cody Sun was all alone in that bottom lane, died because he pushed up too far, but that's going to be first turret.
And that's nice. Arrow and Adrian getting themselves that gold pretty much solo in the 2v2. In fact, I think the only visit to this lane was Dardock for Immortals getting that early kill. I mean, Flame and Dardock will trade for the top turret now. Anori will take the blue for a bit of extra advantage on the play. But again, Immortals, they took the top out of first last time, managed to get Flame a nice long lane to try and freeze in. But that's P1 have the kind of initiative this time around and might even take the Drake as well.
Now they have the Scuttle, they recognize Dardock was just missing, but they don't want to risk anything early. And we're going to see this one more time. Cody just thought they were back because they've been very patient in that rush, hadn't showed for an entire creep wave. Watching this fight in the mid lane as well, they know there's no summoners on Ryu, so Dardock just kind of has to walk in it because Ole had the turret aggro. The approach by Inori was very well timed, waiting until Immortals chased through the turret to be able to come in for that extra.
The package again for Ryu. Didn't get too much use out of it before, but might get much better this time.
The enemy jungle with it.
Dardock looks for the red buff, doesn't get it. Good smite actually from Dardock secures it. Pobelter roaming up, that means Ryu has to leave. But good pressure applied. He was looking for top lane. Flame smartly backed off. But Ryu starting to leave this lane's bad news for Immortals. It's bad too. Pobelter going to get chunked. Wave is going to hit him. There's the ball follow-up, and Ryu with a snipe.
And the support gank comes in huge for Adrian.
Now Ole all out on his own, isolated indeed versus the Kha'Zix. Nori going to get some vision and realize he doesn't want to chase into unknown territory, but pings out into the mountain. Drake P1 have mid to potentially shove down as well.
Just transitioning the Varus around the map as well and trying to take that bot lane strength elsewhere, just pushing back. Dardock would have to go all in if he wants to stop this. They're just trying to wave clear.
Zigzalt is nice from Cody Sun. Gets some mini wave out from under the turret, but P1 have 2 good choices to make here. So with mid being the initial objective, have to back away, but happy to get the Drake here instead. P1 know they force only good choices out of themselves there, and Immortals decide to protect the only thing they could, which was the turret. Dardock.
They might want to go for this, surprisingly. They stall the Drake.
Nori's got smite, Dardock does not. That's going to be the Drake over. Leaps out to safety as well. Nice attempt from Ole, but very clean and calm from P1.
Yeah, and that's a little bit more of the scatter the Immortals we saw in week 1, where they're kind of going for a play that has a low percentage chance of working. Dardock didn't even have smite available when they went to stall the Drake with the Bard ultimate, so knowing that Inori would be able to hop away, that play's just not going to work. Now they try and pressure the bottom lane, but Phoenix1 has everyone there to defend.
Yep, healing act from Adrian actually proving to be quite nice once more, as Flame did TP for that play, I believe, as well. So looking a little tricky. Those cooldowns will now be desynced. Pobelter shoving in where he can, building in towards what looks like a Luden's Echo second, but Ryu's ready with the Trinity Force, and this is where things get real fun for Corki.
It really does. Corki has the strongest point in the game around the 20 to 30 minute mark, and then he actually does fall off a little bit when he approaches 6 items, just because of how quirky the heavily magic damage attack scaling thing is that is his kit. Thinking about the rest of this game, though, is it is fairly similar to what happened in Game 1, where Flame has a decent-sized edge in his top lane, and the question will be whether he can create split push opportunities, and then whether or not Immortals can get picks, because Phoenix1 probably stronger in team fights and also winning in a couple of different lanes.
This is kind of a good start. Ole, no Bard ulti, but tried to make something happen there towards the bottom half of the map. Good ward coverage from P1, though. Will prevent that from going too wrong. Pobelta going to try and challenge Ryu. He's just going to push the wave in and back away from it. Good wave clear there from Pobelta. Both these mid laners should be very good at shoving waves back and forth. But Ryu, we've seen him roam a little bit more. Flame, I think, feels not nearly as safe as he was, given that the game hasn't quite opened up as much for him. And Flame is, I think, the key person that needs to get going and get the split push started. So the fact that he's had not as good a start and the CSC is even significantly different means that Ryu's getting all in the mid lane. Zigdo going to protect him. Dado looking to dive in, but Inori's here. They might turn it around. The last axe is not enough. Oh. And Zig is just tanking everything.
But Immortals still has everyone here, so they're going to try and get some turret damage down and end up backing away just in respect of the rest of the team. So it looked like that could have been a big play for Immortals, but they get nothing out of it.
And again, the side lanes aren't going as well as they were in Game 1, so instead they group together and try and make a play for the turret in mid. P1, though, defend pretty well off the attempts. And now going to get some counter shoving back. About Ryu's back to a side lane, looking to make his way down towards the bottom lane and collect farm there. And Arrow, happy to see drop. Cody-san knows he does not want to get sniped.
Yeah, just Ghostblade for the positioning on that snipe, and I agree with you about Ryu being bot lane. This is a more natural position from a champion select perspective to have in a side lane. Corki, especially once you can get the package, unlocks a large amount of map mobility that Cassiopeia just doesn't have. He pulled it off last game, though, going with it this game.
And it does feel like P1 kind of know they want to take this mid outer turret if possible. Adrian chased down by Dardoch, though. Kuchi's supports do not favor well. Arrow stunned as well, actually, by Ole, but no follow-up there as the TP is going to come in from P1, and Nori going to look to make it happen again. Now the snipes move in. Spikes are good, but a good exhaust. It's going to be the snipe. Cody-san able to collect one, but Immortals' health looking a little low.
Yeah, and a nice counter there by Immortals. Was surprised to see Phoenix1's teleport from Zig when Ryu was still in Rivers. So even after the teleport, they were still going to be down a man. And Inori jumps in a little bit too far, but now the poke begins.
Yeah, Dardoch chunked in this turret was already pretty low. They'll commit a little bit more, and they will take the turret. P1, they lose Inori, but make a very fair trade for themselves.
Yeah, Inori pays for his overaggression, but the theory of the play could work if they were just a little bit more patient. Now Ryu's hoping to catch out Cody-san.
He's got him. Ryu going in for it. Exhaust is down. Ulti out from Cody-san, and a good satchel might keep him safe. Stun goes wide from Ole, and Ryu, good little play, but Cody-san gets himself out.
Yeah, burn a couple summer spells, so not bad. Overall, map pressure stays slightly in the favor of Phoenix1.
These two have been up to no good all game long.
They're going to go for... Dardoch has ultimate.
Yeah, they're going in. Adrian's like, no. And now Dardoch's like, yeah, that doesn't work on me. I'm all out. Ryu's still here, though. Ole actually going to get all in. They might trade back for support.
Oh, here we go.
Down. Does take Ole with him, but Pobelta's in. Ultimate out. Is that Minori going to join the fray? Pops Pobelta.
Those are the ones that hurt when the fight gets decided by missed skill shots. Right there. Looked like to me Pobelta missed pretty much everything, and Ryu gets out alive. When I felt like Immortals had the advantage coming into that fight as well, so very tight margins right here.
Looks like all a ruse, perhaps. So we'll watch this one again. Dardoch and Ole setting it up.
Yeah, so you can see they hop over with the Blast Cone. Adrian can't bubble because he's Olaf, pops the ultimate. Exhaust comes down, though, because they have double exhaust on the team, and it's smart of Ryu to go straight for Ole and Dardoch here. But here is where they should kill Ryu, but you miss the first Q, he ults straight, and then he does get the stun and an extra Q, so I was incorrect of saying he missed everything. But that first Q, as well as getting multiple orbs on the ground before he presses his ultimate for that little bit of extra damage. The Hex Drinker and now Maw coming in huge.
Just didn't have enough. You can see how much damage Ryu was able to dish out in that last exchange. And P1 starting to take pretty firm control of this game, 22.5 minutes in. Big objectives starting to come back up as Cloud Drake is going to be on the menu in 10 seconds, and Baron is alive and well. P1 continuing their rotation play, looking to take out topside this time, and in fact Ryu able to do that on his own.
Yeah, and a fight coming in right here.
Ooh, good stun again. Flame not quite tagged, but Ryu wants it. Not going to leap too far forward. Phoenix1 just kind of tightening the noose, looking to incrementally gain that advantage, kind of play Immortals around the map. Because Immortals, when they don't have the sideline pressure, when they can't find clean picks without the vision, their comp just does not look as good.
Exactly, and Syndra, when you are not pretty far ahead, does struggle a fair bit. So he's got to worry about Zig getting on top of him, because if he gets CC'd by anything, essentially the poke from the Corki and the Varus takes him clean off the map. And the same could actually be true of the Ziggs, even though Cody Sun has a little bit more mobility. It's going to be a tough game for Immortals because they have these ranged poke champions without great ways of keeping people off of them. So Phoenix1 might just look to steamroll in for fights.
He's another pick. In fact, Probelter is far too far forward.
Oh, but can he just walk away?
Again. Oh, he's like, all right, I got you, don't worry. And now Immortals might even go for a play in the Drake pit.
Well, they got to be careful because it's setting up a 5v5. They're really hoping to get a pick on a squishy.
No, that's not a squishy. That might be, though. Ryu
still took half his health.
Satchel Charge is there. Stuns him against the wall. Great double stun, actually, from Bard and Flame. Snipes one off as Zig goes down. P1 going to be playing 4v5.
Yeah, so that's an example of the amount of burst damage they can throw out. Zig, not yet at that super tank status, was unable to ever get a Courage proc. Now they go for Ryu.
Cute little play. Ryu takes damage from Dardoch now as he's going to run towards him. Zig's ult did get some burst down, but Ole caught him by the chance of corruption. Teammates are there, though, so he'll be safe, and Immortals are still pushing mid. Yeah,
Dardoch gets trolled by the baby magical journey there, but yep, they have the Ziggs as well. He might want to try and get that turn and execute range. Can't quite do it, and now they have to be a little fearful of the counter attack.
Ole going to go down to Ryu again. He's had Bud for breakfast today. Ryu, 4 kills still in this one. We're going to carry once again.
Yeah, and there isn't someone who can easily tank through that damage. I also have to point out the double exhaust from the Phoenix1 team on Ryu and Adrian is really faltering Dardoch's ability to just fly in as the Olaf. As soon as he goes in, he gets exhausted, can no longer threaten, has to kind of run straight back out.
Well, Cloud Drake, as a result of the exchange in play, will give Phoenix1 their second Drake of the game to accompany their Mountain. Again, it's been a slower paced game than the first one here, but Phoenix1 have felt in control. They're 1,000 gold ahead right now, which is good, but not a monumental lead by any means. But again, it just feels like they've got a little bit more as far as the overall game control goes. And I think Immortals, if they're going to get something going, it has to kind of start now. They've got 5 to 10 minutes maybe to really open up a big advantage. You can see their items are starting to come out. Flame maybe can find space in the side lane to get some work done, but something has to happen soon.
Feels like it, especially if they're able to stack up some magic-resistant important positions in with Edge of Night, Mon Malmortius, and Mercurial Scimitar. Even if Phoenix1 wants to continue to build damage, they can also work it in with the magic resistance. So at that point, it would literally just be the Jace poke that they would need to have armor for. But they still got that Jace, or the Ziggs turret execute.
And you can see how much work they can get done with the Ziggs. That's one of the features of Satchel Charge that was changed quite a while ago now. Immortals, if they can get damage on this turret, will take them freely. And this is actually really nice. Flame, we're going to take that as well. Arrow going to get jumped up by Dardoch, but Dardoch's going to get jumped up by Phoenix1. Can't be disabled for a little while longer, so not going to eat that bubble. Good stun from Ole.
Guy, though.
Satchel Charge lands in, so he's going to get bopped away, but he's going to chase him down the magical journey. Ole going to miss that cue. And both teams escape with no casualties.
Yeah, and both teleports expended as well. Flame canceled his and wants to keep shoving that bottom lane, but they have to respect the Baron. Kha'Zix's Baron with Mountain Drake is really fast, so Immortals playing a dangerous game right here, not face checking.
No blue trinkets up right now. They have 2, but they're both on cooldown, so Phoenix1.
They have no options other than face check or give up the Baron, except for that Bard ultimate.
Nice ult there from Ole, but P1 can pull away pretty safely. Zig in the front side, gonna tank up the majority of that damage, and Flame is still pushing, but P1 is gonna force this fight.
Yeah, the longer they're on Baron without killing it, though, the more poke they will take from the Baron. So Immortals hoping to find their way into this fight. Will Phoenix1 peel for it?
Oh, Ryu actually getting chased in by Flame. P1, that's looking a little scattered. In fact, the Nori's forced to leap out of the way. Redemption going to heal them up very nicely.
Redemption's still good.
Yeah, turns out. And that's going to force them off the Baron, in fact. But that's actually great news for Immortals because they can continue pushing through. Cody's son not going to join Flame, but Flame's not having any of this. And now he's going to leave. All right.
Yeah, has to be fearful of the home-guarded recalls that come through from Phoenix1, but still a promising stop to that Baron force since they did not have good vision in the area, and Flame was starting from the bottom side of the map to stop that with no casualties. And even arguably pull an advantage out of it. It's good for Immortals.
Well, P1 might be looking for a pick onto Cody's son here.
Oh,
Dardog
again.
in the area as well. Now going from again. They have to stun up. Cody's son going to get isolated and torn apart by the Kha'Zix.
Yeah, and they somehow just slipped through all the wards.
Hi, Ryu. Dardog pops his ulti. Good use of the package F from Ryu to poke them down. P1 on the siege or potentially the Baron play.
Yeah, because Cody's son being down and having no Ziggs ult even when he revives will make it a little bit easier. But we're still pretty early on into the game, so Phoenix1 still may be thinking about the pick. Everyone's in the Baron pit. Jace Q is down as well.
Dardog is low and went.
They also don't have a Bard ult for another few seconds.
Yeah, this is going to be tight. Ole needs to go back in for it, but Baron looks to already be down. Decisive play. Oh, that looked close. Ryu secures it for his team, though. It's going to be all right.
Yeah, realistically, that was an uncontested Baron, but Ole tried anyway. Trying to go for the highlight play, couldn't quite get it. Overall, it was pretty much just the pick onto Cody's son that set all of that up. And then, because they weren't able to land any substantial poke before Phoenix1 jumped in that pit, it was just all too easy for Phoenix1.
Looking clean still, Phoenix1. Still only up 1,000 gold, but looking to do, again, real damage with the Baron buff. Got a good amount done with the early Baron in game number 1, but this feels like an even better position with 7 turrets already traded between the two teams. The damage that Phoenix1 does to the next turrets are going to knock down tier 2 turrets, maybe inhibitor turrets, maybe really open up the map and start to put P1 in a game-winning position rather than the advantage they just have now. But Immortals, they fought out of it last game. We'll see if they can do it again here.
Yeah, and so much of it has to do with the poke that can or cannot land from Phoenix1. Arrow and Ryu do so much long-range poke. It's one of the reasons you see Varus paired with Corki so often, is not only are they 2 strong poke champions, they also do different damage types, so it's very hard to prevent yourself from getting poked down when you don't have sustain.
And they've got the 3 damage items on both of their different marksmen here, so it's looking good as Cody's son going to eat that first bit of poke. Pobelta trying to clean the minions out, but Baron is a little too tough. Zig's going to tank up the turret for a little while, and Ryu's going to shoot that first one down. Level 17 Corki. This good poke there from Pobelta is going to force the tidal wave out of Adrian.
And you also think about the way Immortals is going to try and engage. They don't have a dedicated initiator. They need to catch someone with Pobelta or Scatter the Weak, or maybe teleport in behind with the Jace, who's not that great of a flanker. So these sieges are relatively safe with Phoenix when they have a disengaged champion in Nami, and Immortals doesn't have a hard engaged champion to kind of counter that.
No, they don't, as Ole actually burns the Redemption just to heal the team up before the next siege wave. Adrian, of course, has his healing as well. P1 going to look to siege up another tier 2 turret. Ryu, every shot really counts on the turret right now. He's going to tank tower aggro. That's a little ugly, but they should be able to take this one down. Just needs a few more shots. Ole going to try and make it happen. Baron Canyon is the only one left in stasis, and turret's going to fall.
Yeah, and that's pretty much it for Immortals as far as their initiation. They have to hope they land a good Bard ultimate, and if they don't, they have absolutely no follow-up. So like you mentioned, with the Baron buff, Phoenix1 able to take down multiple turrets, also just take that into another Mountain Drake, which will enhance their next Baron play, things turning in Phoenix1's favor pretty heavily.
Advantage seems to be building, as Mountain number 2 is now secured. Elder Dragon's going to be next on the table with P1. I think looking to speed up the pace of the game just a little bit more. It feels like the plan that looked so good and dragged the game on for so long for Immortals in the first one, just not there this time around. Flame has been really kept down, and yes, he still has a significant CS lead here. He's still a good Jace, but it's just not the same map influence he had in the first one.
Yeah, I completely agree. They haven't needed to dedicate anything to stopping Flame. I think it's the biggest difference. And you haven't seen Flame taking down many turrets based off his map pressure. No objectives have been gained via the split push, so it is just that 70 CS advantage. And then you look at the trouble of sustained damage, because that's ultimately what takes down tanks in the late game. And with the Ziggs and Syndra and the Jace, it's almost all front-loaded burst. So if they go through that one cycle and don't get a kill onto Zig, they're just going to be victim to Kha'Zix and the onslaught of damage that Phoenix1 can throw back at them.
And Phoenix1 have pretty insane amounts of damage on this team comp. Double Marksman tends to do that for you, as they're off onto another siege. Baron buff has dropped here, but Minion's going to stay alive for long enough. Ryu going to take the turret. He's not too miffed. As the heal comes back then onto Adrian. And once again, Ryu just casually dodging skill shots as Phoenix1 going to look to really crack things open here in the top lane.
Yeah, it's going to be really difficult to do without Baron, so I think the main goal of this one is to just get a semblance of control over this jungle for when they want to peel back for Baron, but who knows? The initiation is so low on Immortals that they might just try and poke down without the Baron drop.
Yep, and if they can get some poking of the squishies, Pobelter actually already sitting real low. Ole
Get the flash.
gonna force that out from Arrow, but P1 still happy with the siege. Pobelter has to run all the way back to base, so P1 have about 20 seconds to try and lay in a bit more.
And you may think that was a little preemptive for the flash on Arrow, but Phoenix1 understands that the only good initiation is that Bard ultimate, so do everything you can to not get caught into it, and then just keep sieging as usual.
Ghost Blade, I hear one. I think it's Arrow. And he's looking to move in. Thought it was Flame for a second, but Dardoch can no longer be disabled. Pops his ultimate versus Adrian's Tidal Wave. Flame with a good bit of poke in. Arrow looks for an exchange, but does not find it with the piercing arrow. And Phoenix1 happy to keep the siege going. There's really nothing else they need to do right now.
Yeah, pretty much. There's no Flame in a side lane trying to accelerate the choices from Phoenix1. Phoenix1 is able to take full control of the jungle, spread control wards, make sure they walk through. Hopefully they can catch that control ward on their way out, because that's a little bit of safety for Immortals knowing about the next Baron, which will be up in a minute 45.
Another greedy looking play from Inori. Doesn't get him killed this time, but managed to leap away as the level 16 Kha'Zix, so all evolutions now put into the QW. And E looks like a big wave bottom lane was the concern there for Phoenix1, but Baron's now up in a minute 30, so they'll happily take care of that before they make their play onto this second Baron buff. But Ryu just collecting a monstrous amount of CS this time around. Max level with the package. He's ready to fight.
Yeah, package will be up for another 30 seconds or so, so unlikely they can use it around an objective, but it's nice to have that as security as he makes sure they get that bottom lane shoved up. So really Phoenix1 just thinking a couple of minutes ahead, trying to get all the waves in the right position before they go for a Baron, where I feel like they're hoping to just start a team fight with Zig in the front and pile in after.
Yeah, I've been overall very impressed with the planning and general map movement from Phoenix1. It looks very clean, very cohesive, which is impressive for a new mixed language team. Whoever's calling the shots on this team, whatever's happening in the infrastructure department, it looks good in game, it looks good in the draft, and just looks very clean for a team that we thought might take a little longer to start to gel.
Yeah, I mean, Phoenix1 put a lot of time in the offseason trying to get the right players signed. Their staff is bigger than ever. They're trying to really build on the little bits of success they found at the end of last split. And even last week, their games were much more measured than you would expect from Phoenix1. Some of the story about how Phoenix1 was winning last week is like, oh, they just cheesed them and they'd randomly have these chaotic games. No, they're trying to be a very measured team in a lot of these games, and Baron's up. They're going to try and do a nice little Baron push-pull and get the fight they want. Well,
Immortals are, I think, trying to run it down mid and get pressure going there, but Ryu more than happy to try and get a kill. Dardoch forced to ult again, though.
And Ghost.
Tidal Wave's going to chase down, doesn't hit anyone, but it's going to zone the rest of Immortals away, and Ryu is still shoving poke towards the squishies. Going to cut off this lane and make sure it pushes in their favor.
And that is just a death sentence for Dardoch, not having Ultimate or Ghost on the Olaf. He is pretty much unable to participate in a 5v5 team fight without those abilities. So Phoenix1 just start right up, and if they're tanking properly, if Zig would get in the pit and tank that Baron for him, they'd be able to peel for a fight much more easily, but they're just going to burst it down.
Adrian's got a lot of healing, and they've got plenty of damage, so P1 is happy to take it without their tank. Baron up again, gold lead starting to grow towards the out-of-control side of the spectrum, and Ryu's now finished his fourth item as Rapid Fire Cannon is done. You mentioned Corgi dropping up a bit towards the late stages of the game. This is not one of those times.
This is like the peak. He hits these items, and he's still incredibly powerful, but it's just the multiplication isn't the same as like an old school Infinity Edge type marksman, which in this game, they do not exist. So essentially, Ryu is really strong and the strongest person in the game at the moment.
P1 will see if they can leverage all that strength, try and knock down some inhibitor turrets in Immortals base. This Baron push will be tricky to defend, but Immortals are going to try something here. Haven't been really able to find a foothold, it feels like. The picks that they were finding in the first game, P1 have cleaned up a lot as far as sticking together, doing the appropriate management of these waves and having proper vision. I mean, Elder Dragon's up, Immortals might try and rush for it, but P1 are pressuring hard in mid lane right now.
Yeah, they absolutely are, and they have the advantage to do so. We mentioned Immortals does not have great initiation tools, and they don't have great tanks, so they can get bursted down by Ryu if they walk into these fights. They have to try at some point, though, to get the fight. And
they just cut them off here. That turret's going to melt. Edge of Knife from Arrow is going to keep him alive from Pobelter, and this inhibitor should fall pretty quickly. Immortals not going to look to defend this one, I don't think. And P1 able to take it down. Zig gets stoned, but that's not the target they want, and immediate pings top lane for Phoenix1.
Yeah, and I mean, Phoenix1 is showing that they understand how these team compositions interact. We go all the way back to the draft phase, and Immortals did pick champions that they wanted to shove in every lane and kind of snowball the game. Because if they don't have that, Phoenix1 just has so many more poke tools and initiation tools. So Immortals loses the poke game, the sustain game, the team fight game, and the initiation game because they pick laning.
Or maybe the whole game as well. Oh, his Bartle is going to go wide, and that's just going to keep the siege going for Phoenix1. Zig tanking everything he can. Arrow almost takes out the Bard. We're not able to get that snipe down. That's going to force them back. The health bar's blinking a little lower, and Phoenix1 are closing in for the kill.
They really are. Second and hip down. Immortals would have to go all out, but they've already expended Bard ultimate to little effectiveness. Phoenix1 could even just walk for the third inhibitor and dare Immortals to fight them because they don't have a clean way of initiating.
Just feels too easy. Phoenix1 have the next wave prepped up as well. It's just all so clean today. And this turret's going to mount. The Cody-san ulti isn't going to clean things out, and Zig is going to get aggressive once the Dardoch tidal waves in. Anori, we're going to try and get a poke down as Cody-san actually got killed by the Kha'Zigs. Healing's going to come through, Inhibitor's going to fall down, and it's just disaster for Immortals.
Yeah, Zig standing in front. Ryu nearly gets bursted down, but he's fine. He'll be sustaining up, and Phoenix1 is trying to walk this one in.
Zig unkillable, huge bubble for Adrian after Arrow's ultimate, and now Anori goes in for the kill, leaps forward, gets exhausted, and shut down by Flame. So it's going to look a little awkward on camera, but Phoenix1 looking to still win this one.
Yeah, it's Dardoch and Flame. Flame does do a bunch of damage, so 3 inhibitors down, they might have to wait.
Ryu went back, so can't quite end it, but Zig looking kind of unkillable. As
He's got a package. He might be trying to fly in.
Oh, he takes him down. There's Ryu straight to the back towards Dardoch. No, he wants Flame instead. Gonna look for the big 1v1. And Jace looking to win it. Flame with the outplay shuts it all down. And now Dardoch gonna chase towards Adrian. Throws an axe up mid-suspension. That's kind of cute. But Adrian is he's having some trouble. That axe goes a little short.
Oh my.
Knock-up's good. Arrow gonna keep firing it in. And now P1 are kind of trapped. Blastcone's gonna get Arrow to safety, maybe.
Things just got a little peculiar. I feel like the game is still pretty much in the hands of Phoenix1, but Flame trying to single-handedly keep him in this as he had a super solid 1v1 outplay on Ryu right there. But 3 inhibitors down with Nexus turrets down. We're going to watch the beginnings of this fight once again. Cody-san ults, but Mari just eats him on isolated Kha'Zigs, and he has no health or armor items of any kind on the Zig, so that'll happen. And then they just continue that fight, but this is the carnage that was left.
Yep, Ole journeys back to his very exposed Nexus. Elder Dragon. Oh, that's awkward. Adrian missed the angle on the blast cone. Doesn't matter though. I don't think they're going for the Dragon. Maybe waiting for the rest of the team. But they can also just go for the throat here. Anori gets some vision down. They can see all of Immortals hanging out in their base, trying to clean out the wave of minions.
And this is another thing where it sucks to not have a normal marksman, because that's where they excel in killing the super minions. There's like 10,000 health in each minion wave in each lane because multiple super minions are spawning in each lane once you have 3 inhibitors down. So it just takes a really long time for Immortals to clear it. Phoenix1's gonna walk up and kill the Nexus.
Yeah, I mean, that's the plan at this stage. No Baron buff's gonna make it a little less free for Phoenix1.
Yeah, they're gonna try and fight him.
I mean, they have
to.
Good little trap, but Immortals have no choices left, really. And Zig just doesn't care. Maybe he cares a little more now. Oh, Ole finds through. That's good. Arrow's actually one of the targets. Good flash out from Arrow. Adrian gonna get stunned up. He's gonna try and run away from it. Dardoch goes all in for the kill in the back line. And Nori stunned in by Pobelta, but no one dead just yet. Dardoch almost going down.
Yeah, and a lot of Ziggs and Cinder damage did land, pushing Zig back. Zig could recall, heal up, and then teleport on a minion to get back in here at full health. I think that's what we're going to see.
There's literally nothing left but the Nexus for Immortals to fight for, but they are going to have to go in for it. P1 going to try and close it out. Arrow's taking poke on the other end, but Zig, he's just waiting for the minions. Ole gets chunked. He's almost dead. And Phoenix1 is going to lurch forward and try and take this down. Immortals backed into a corner, trying to defend the Nexus, but it's already going down low. Phoenix1 is going to leap forward. Flame's going to go down. The shutdown for Ryu, and there's the sweep for Phoenix1.
And it was definitely one of the longer sweeps we've seen, with over 90 minutes of game time in the 2-0. But at the end of the day, it is a 2-0, and Phoenix1 moves to 4-1, which is a spectacular start to the split.
Yep, trying to break the 3-way tie for second place that started at the top of the day. They will now tie for first, I believe. I guess game to play for Cloud9.
Yeah, as far as wins, they are tied, but win percentage, Cloud9 still undefeated. And you looked at Phoenix1's reaction there, definitely not excited. The Nori very hard on himself after that game because to the first 20 minutes or so, it was clear that Dardoch did get the best of him in both of those games. And Phoenix1 are not happy about being 4-1, which is just kind of a huge change in the expectations from last year and shows you where this team wants to go.
Yeah, I mean, knowing that it's a long season, gonna move over to shake hands and exchange some hugs and smiles there with the enemy team. But today, Phoenix1 start week 3 off with another solid-looking win, and it seems like, again, the work that they put in, the infrastructure they invested in, the coach that they now have that's leading them every champ select, they're just building a super solid foundation because they know it's not about, coming out of the gate early and then faltering at the end. That's the old Immortals strategy. They want to make sure they surge into the playoffs and really challenge for the top spots.
For sure, that's what they want to do. One thing we didn't mention after or during this game at all is the fact that Adrian is a former Immortals player and he was able to get the best of him here. Big smile on his face and a good hug for Pobelter at the end of that game. So it's got to feel pretty good for Adrian, even though he just picked Nami both games. Doesn't play the Zyra. So as far as the trend of when Adrian was on Immortals, why aren't you playing the meta supports? Feels like he's keeping that with him with no Zyra pick, but still a successful game.
Strong mages, I think we nerfed the redemption, nerfed some of the healing items. He's like, nah, still good. We're going to take them all and try and get them happening there. Really funny stuff to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, 4-1 on Phoenix1. This series was closer than we probably thought it was going to be, even though the end result is still the same.
Well, it certainly looks that. But for more on that Phoenix1 win, let's check in with Azael and the Phoenix1.